Hey everybody, Invisiblekatana here doing my biggest disappointments of E3 2017. Now there were quite a few things that disappointed people this year. Some were in conference form, some were in, announcement form, which kind of goes, hand in hand. For me, it definitely comes in the form of the announcements, but in particular, it comes in the form of not as many new IPs as I really would have loved. As much as I loved what we got this year, and it was like, we got updates to pretty much a ton of things where it was like, sweet, that was announced last year, and for some things we saw footage, most things we didn't. It was like, hey, here you go, here's actual looks at stuff. Nintendo did that with Mario Odyssey. They introduced, Mario Rabbids, even though it's technically leaked. Or I guess technically Ubisoft introduced that, but you know what I mean. Same thing with Assassin's Creed for Ubisoft. They're the ones with all the leaks this year, but a lot of things were either updates or, new games with this, with original IPs or with the same IPs that we've known for a while, but we didn't get a ton of new IPs. We got A Way Out from EA, which I thought looked really great. We got Anthem, which also looked really great. And then there's some other ones thrown in there. Some VR stuff, like at the Sony thing, I think they had like pretty much all of their VR stuff. I think the only thing that wasn't original was Skyrim. I think all the other 3 games that they showed, I believe there were 3 other games, were all brand new IPs, and we didn't get a ton of those. And that's another thing is like, we have some announcements. There are quite a few, IPs, new IPs in there, but it's like they're also like really small, or we didn't get to see a lot of them, and that was kind of hand in hand with it. If we got some new IPs outside of A Way Out and Anthem, we didn't really see much. Ubisoft kind of did the same thing. They had like their space game. I think Bethesda is supposed to have a space game, and that was another thing I was looking forward to with them. Was like there's supposed to be some new space IP from them, and that never showed up at their conference. I know a lot of people hated their conference in general. I was fine with it personally, but that was a bit of a disappointment for me. Where I was like, oh, I was hoping after hearing all this news about them having a new space IP, what's about to happen here? So sadly, that didn't come up. I was really excited for what Nintendo did this year. They actually gave me like my favorite announcement. I have some other videos that I've been doing recently, so I'll put links in the description. But did like my best, who I thought had the best conference and who, or what my favorite announcement was. I just did that one, so I'll put links in the description to that if you guys want to check them out. But as far as everything that we had that I enjoyed, there was still that big element of like, man, I wish this game was there, or that game was there, or that there were just new IPs as well. Because that was just another thing where it's like some games that we have heard of, we didn't get to see. One of the biggest things is that The Last of Us 2 didn't show up in any form at the Sony press conference, and that really sucked. I personally didn't expect there to be any gameplay because we just got like a single trailer, so I wasn't surprised. I would have been surprised if it wasn't gameplay, but I was really hoping like maybe at least a trailer like showing off one new character. Any little tease would have been great, and that's kind of what I was hoping for. Like maybe we'll get, it doesn't even have to really tell us what the story is. Just like one new character, like, all right, this is their relation, in connection with Joel and Ellie. And that was pretty much it. That was all I was hoping for. Like, maybe we'll get to see a new ally, maybe we'll get to see a new villain, maybe we'll get both. Maybe we'll even see a new type of enemy. Anything. I was like, I would love to see that in a trailer. That was like the one thing. I was like, I know we won't get gameplay because that would be insane, but just a trailer would be awesome, and sadly we didn't get that. And of course, it's video game development, so, it's just the way it is. But I would have loved to have seen that. With the hype that was around it, it's The Last of Us Part 2, so of course, the hype is way up there, especially when it was first announced. And, going into, this being E3, I was definitely looking forward to that. I was like, I hope that they do it, and I was really confident. I was like, I'm sure we'll at least see a trailer. I was really confident about that too. I was like, man, I think we'll at least see a trailer. I don't think there'll be gameplay, but something, some clue or anything. It was like, nope, not there at all. And I was like, oh, that kind of sucks. I was like, I think they're really big thing. So that was an unfortunate thing. As far as Nintendo, I was really looking forward to No More Heroes. I didn't realize this until recently, until I was doing one of my other videos, that it was even a disappointment. But I was like, crap, I didn't think about it because they had some, some of my favorite moments at E3 were actually because of Nintendo with their Mario and Rabbids and stuff. And it didn't really occur to me until after, like, oh man, No More Heroes wasn't there. And I've been waiting for that game forever. The 3rd game, I can't wait till it comes out. But when the Switch was announced, Suda51 came out on stage and was like, hey, I know I skipped over on the Wii U, but hey, I'm here for the Switch. No More Heroes is coming back. And there was nothing from that either. So I was like, that really sucks. Once it finally dawned on me that it didn't show up, I was like, crap, I would love to see that happening. He's working with Devolver Digital doing something too, so excited for that. But I was like, man, No More Heroes is one of my favorites, and there's only 2 games, and that second game came out, I don't even know how long ago. They're both on the Wii, so that's how long ago they came out. And the remake for the first game came out on like PS3 and 360, but it's been a super long time, even since the remake of the first game came out. And I'm like, I just really want them to do No More Heroes 3. I would love it if they did No More Heroes 1 and 2. If both those got remakes, or even if they ported the remake of the first one onto the Switch and brought back the motion controls, I'd be fine with that. Add some new detail in there. The graphics, of course, would look much better. And then do an actual full remake of No More Heroes 2, because I never actually got one. It was only the first game, and then they never ended up doing a remake of the sequel. And I was like, oh, I always thought that was weird, because the visuals look amazing for No More Heroes, like the remake, and it's kind of going along with Grasshopper and Suda51's game, because Killer is Dead looks just like it. It's like that cell shaded style. That's kind of like the style of games that they actually make, and it looked really good. That was like the first one where they did that, and then I think Shadows of the Damned came out, and it kind of has that just on a darker tone, because it's a blend of like No More Heroes and stuff mixed with Resident Evil, because it's Suda51 and Shinji Mikami, and now Killer is Dead is like the most recent one, which I'm currently doing the Let's Play on, just to plug another video of mine. But yeah, I'm super excited for that. So I don't know if the news will come out where it's the third game, or if we're going to get a remake of the first two. I would love that, because with it being 2 console generations ago, it's one of those things where it's like, that can work. Kind of like Shadow of the Colossus this year, even though we technically had an HD remaster for the PS3, which I'm so mad that I bought that game. I bought it to play it, and I never played it, and then the remake came out. I was like, I feel like I wasted the money now, because I could have never played it and never spent the money on it, and then I would have just been fine spending the $60, but now it's like, crap, I technically own that last version, although I do have iGo, so I can at least play that, and be like, I'm pretty sure I'll spend like $20 anyway. It was like, I can at least play that, and that's not getting a remake. I'd be so upset if both were coming out again together as full remakes. I'd be like, crap, I really did waste that money. Although that would still make it worth it if that came out at 60 and it was still both games fully remastered. That'd be great. But yeah, definitely enjoyed what we got, but those were really my disappointments. It wasn't really what happened. Like I said, for me personally, the conferences weren't a disappointment. I enjoyed what I saw from everyone. I thought EA did a good job, especially the change, we'll say, that they made. The criticism and not so positive feedback is of whatever they said, like the positive feedback and not so positive feedback of Battlefront 1. That looked really great. A Way Out looks really good. Anthem looks really freaking sweet. So I'm excited for all 3 of those, which I can't believe I'm excited for Battlefront 2, but it does look good. I'm a sucker for Dark Mode 2, like pretty much everybody is. But even outside of that, actual story mode, I want to see more of that. That was a disappointment. That was another thing, was like, even in the midst of something that looked really great, I was like, man, I really want to see a lot more of the single player. Like, I didn't see that anywhere during E3. Like, I was looking at other coverages from like IGN and stuff, and I have a lot to still look at, but I was like, man, I would have loved to have seen more of the single player. Like, they were like, hey, check it out, because of course it's mostly a multiplayer game, so I understand that, especially in this day and age. But I was like, I think that's kind of a big draw. You especially when you're doing, like, you have like an actual actress being the face of the character. It's not just people voice acting. It's like, this actual person is the face of this character and everything. Clearly, you guys are investing in the single player story, so let us see it. So like, what's happening. We know it's going to go from it's taking that gap between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens, so let's see what happens. I'm insanely excited for that. Like, they're filling this gap. They've got 100 billion things that they've erased, once they made The Force Awakens. It's like, all this crap never happened anymore. So they've got to bring a lot of those elements back. Like, a lot of the novels that happened after Return of the Jedi, a lot of the comics. There's so many different things that have happened that are now technically not canon, so I'm excited to see what they bring back into the canon. They already did some stuff for people who don't watch Star Wars Rebels. Grand Admiral Thrawn is in there, so if you like Grand Admiral Thrawn, he's in Star Wars Rebels right now. You should be watching that anyway if you like Star Wars, because it's great. Sadly, it's going into its final season, but it's super freaking good. It's a great series, but I'm excited for that. And it's like, man, they didn't show off the single player, so that is a minor disappointment. But like I said, for me, the biggest thing is that we didn't see a ton of new IPs. It was just updates to stuff, and while there are definitely new games, it was either stuff that's getting some fairly decent updates. Assassin's Creed is getting a good update. Mario Odyssey looks amazing. It's that next level for Mario games, and then also Mario Rabbids, but still not like that, holy crap, this looks like an amazing IP. The IPs we did see outside of what I would consider like, your normal sort of games where it's an adventure game. We have like those space adventure games, and like I said, there's supposed to be one from Bethesda, who knows, and then there was one from Ubisoft where mostly the main focus was on like the toys and stuff, and not really like the gameplay of what was happening outside of you can change your ship, but not really like here's why you change your ship, or here's who you're going against. Is it going to be, everyone says this of course, but is it like No Man's Sky, but actually good? So we still have to wait and get some actual information on that. And it's like what few IPs we had. And once again, it's early development, so it's like this is kind of what we should expect. But it's also E3, so you always expect to have new IPs. Either it's going to be, kind of like what Nintendo did with Metroid 4. It's like either it's going to be a new IP or, at least a new game where it's so early you see nothing. Or it's like, hey, we're showing you gameplay and we actually get something substantial. It was like such a... I think it was a big chunk was like just the person putting the pieces on the actual ship. So it's like there's really no context to being in space and shooting random things. It's like, all right, that's just a ship shooting at something else, shooting at another ship. So there's really no context or anything. It was just so focused on like the toy aspect. I was like, I don't know. Like I didn't see as much as I wanted to. But main disappointment really was just the lack of IPs and some of the games that that I was really looking forward to. No More Heroes 3. I'm looking forward to that even more than The Last of Us 2. I would love to see what they're doing with that. I love Naughty Dog. I have all the Uncharted games. Can't wait for the new one. But man, No More Heroes is one of those games where I'm like, I just feel like not enough people own that game or love that game like it should be loved. And I would love for it to come out again on the Switch, especially with it selling so much better than the Wii U. It's like the perfect time to be like, hey, let's bring back a franchise that did great on the Wii. I would love to, man, another game that everyone needs to own, Mad World on the Wii is absolutely perfect. Like that game is insane. It looks like a manga the whole way through. It's black and white, except for blood is red. That whole game is just like unbelievably amazing, and you get points. Steve Blum seems to be in like all the point-based games, but it's like Bulletstorm, except you don't have like future tech. It's like that. Because you've got like a chainsaw, well, he does have a chainsaw that comes out of a gauntlet. But you do that, you like kill people in like crazy creative ways to get more points and stuff, and you have like crazy boss battles and stuff. It's an insanely great game, and it only came out for the Wii. It never got a remake, and it's like, this game is unbelievably amazing. It has like some sort of co-op mode, I can't really remember, but it's so freaking good, and I'm like, that should get a remake, and No More Heroes needs to get a remake. No More Heroes 1 and 2 and Mad World, if all three of those came out and got remakes, I would buy those all over again, like 1080p. They don't even have to be 60 frames. I couldn't care less. They're just great freaking games, and both of them truly utilize the motion controls for the Wii. Unlike a lot of the games that were there, was like it's kind of tacked on. It's like you can do this, and it's like kind of okay. It was like made for the Wii. Like those games only came out on the Wii until the remake for No More Heroes 1. But I would love to see them brought back on the Switch. It's the perfect time because they've gone back to full motion controls with taking the Joy-Cons off, and you have one in each hand, just like the Wiimote and the nunchuck. So it's back to literally the exact same style of gameplay where you have one here, one here. It's the perfect time to bring some of those Wii games back, at least the ones that were actually really good. And all three of those are absolutely phenomenal games. No More Heroes 1 and 2, Mad World, they need to come back. I know that I'm kind of on like a soapbox now, and it's totally not the point of this video, but I really want to talk about that because I love those games. So we'd love to see those come back, but those are my biggest disappointments. Nothing really drastic. It was just not as many new IPs as I would like to have seen. And then like the two games that I was really looking forward to, because I do really love either the first two games in No More Heroes case, or just the first game, as well as its great DLC for The Last of Us. Sadly, neither of those really showed up, and nothing that really, as far as the new IPs outside of Anthem, looked really cool, but I'm still cautious. A Way Out is really like the only brand new IP where I'm like, I'm 100% sure I want to play that game. Anthem, I'm like, I definitely feel like I want to, but I feel like that could change over time. I feel like what we saw was really cool, and it's BioWare, so it's like how much of those RPG elements are going to be into it, because that might make a difference with this. I personally, I do love Mass Effect. I haven't played the most recent one. I know that's got its own issues. But just in general, even if that wasn't a problem, it's just in general, wondering what this game is truly going to be like. Is it going to have dialogue wheels? Are they simplifying that where none of that's there? It's just a linear story where you don't make options. How much of the combat is really going to be in there? It's got those legendary pickups and the RPG elements too, so it's like, alright, how much deeper are they going to go into the RPG elements, and what else are we going to see? They already told us you can pick like 4 different types of the exosuits called the javelins. So I was like, all right, where are things going? But not a ton of new IPs. Would have loved it. Would love to have seen, some of the games I was excited for. Really, the only 2 games I was like looking forward to seeing, neither of them really showed up. I would have liked to have seen more on Kingdom Hearts 3 as well. I know there was a trailer that was dropped, and still, that's another big disappointment. It's still just like it's coming, but there was still no date when that trailer dropped. I was like, oh sweet, there's a new trailer. It's an E3 trailer, like the 2nd or 3rd official trailer we've had for this game, and it's still just like, It's like, I don't know when that game's coming out. I just don't know. We're just waiting. It's like Half-Life 3 out here. But it's supposed to be happening, so we shall see. But those are my disappointments. Nothing really crazy. Like I said, I enjoyed all the conferences. I know that's not the case for everyone. Some people hated Bethesda's conference. I think that's like the big thing where a lot of people, if anyone had like a worse conference, Bethesda seems to be kind of right up there where it's like people were just super disappointed with everything that they did. It was like, once again, not really new IPs and stuff like that. Just updates. It was literally like all updates outside of the Doom game, which I think, not a new IP, but it's technically a different game than the original Doom, based off of what I saw at least. But yeah, that was really it from them. So I know a lot of people were disappointed with them, but in general, I would love to know your biggest disappointments from E3 2017, whether it was conference-based or just, a lack of a specific announcement, like you thought, Last of Us 2. I think a lot of people were expecting that to show up. It was like, it didn't happen. I don't know how many people were waiting on No More Heroes like I was, but I'm still waiting on that, so it's a disappointment for me. Maybe you guys had some other ideas, like maybe this will show up. Maybe you just didn't like a specific game that did show up, but you didn't see enough of what was great to you. Maybe you didn't care about Assassin's Creed like you thought you would. I thought it looked really good. I'm excited for it. But would love to know your biggest disappointments from this year. So please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.